love. Coming up.
Yeah,
Go on with it. Love it. What's the lip combo? Is that Fenty?
I won't even lie to you. It's my sister that knows about makeup. I think.
Oh, sister.
This is Huda Beauty.
Yeah.
And then this is something I stole
From her.
her drawer.
Do you know what's so funny? I was telling your sister, I actually follow her on TikTok.
Do you?
Like, I think she's the reason why my
does
makeup
that.
looks like this. Like,
Yeah, she
yeah.
did my makeup. I went to the house to go and get it done. So
yeah.
I had to, otherwise I'll probably look like a oily ghost. Otherwise, but yeah.
Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm Tracey. I'm the founder of the Headdress. We do a range of services, particularly braiding, but other services like your relaxers, your washes, and weaves and wigs and all that.
Amazing. And have you got a hair studio or salon or?
Yes, I have a hair studio in North London.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so this is the business of hair, right? Like we're talking about, we're getting into the background of your hair business and how you run it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really just wanted to find out from you, like how many income streams do you have in your business?
So I have the studio, which is one. And then I also sell braiding hair.
Okay.
So I do sell a unique blend of colours. So they're not your typical one or one, like a mix of colours.
I've seen the blends that you do, like the blondes and like just very unique like shades, right?
So that was kind of what really pushed me into like being known for braiding, particularly outside all the other stuff that I do.
Yeah.
Was the braiding blends. So yeah, it's that and then the hair extensions.
Yeah.
And then other things after
that. Yeah. And if we just take it a step back, like how did Tracey get into hair? Like what's your story? Like how did you find yourself now? Like with your studio and you got your hair blends that you said, like what was the beginning?
I've always, when something is just innate. I've always had an interest for hairdressing from a very young age.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking like 6-7 years old. It started when my grandma taught me just the normal 3-strand braid.
Yeah.
And then I kind of ran with that. Then my mum taught me how to sew, and then I was like, a weave, So
you're bringing like different,
all things together. And then, of course, when everyone's like, oh, well, she had a really interest in hairdressing, there's a lot of praise around it, you want to do it more, you're interested in more. And then funny enough, because I just remembered one of my first ever jobs that I had at like 12, a Saturday job, was at a salon that organised.
And where was that? Was it like in a local salon in your area?
Yeah, it was just around the corner.
Okay.
One of my friends was like, oh, I have a salon. And I was like, oh, my daughter's interested in hairdressing. And then it just literally went from there.
So it was like natural, it's just kind of like meant to be. Yeah. And how old were you when you had that job?
I think I was like 12.
Wow. So you literally were working in the salon from like a young age.
Very young age.
Amazing. And then obviously that grew into...
Yeah, that grew.
Wow.
And I'd always was like, oh, I wish I had my own salon.
Yeah.
I had my own salon. But yeah, that's how it started.
Lovely. Yeah. And when did you actually get your own space?
A year and a half ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So quite recent.
So it was a very long journey before I got here. I was always, back then in my days, I don't want to expose my age.
It's my days.
In my days, hairdressing was not something you would say, this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I agree as well. Even growing up for me, like nobody aspired to, like, not in like a rude way. There was no one that you saw that was like a big hairdresser. Like, I want to be like you.
Not at all.
It was like the aunties, right?
Especially if when you're coming from a West African background.
Yeah.
Your parents are like, study. A-levels, GCSEs, nothing included hairdressing.
Yeah.
And then hairdressing was always like, oh, college dropouts, they'll put you in a vocational course.
Yeah.
It's never a thing that you could just come up and say, even though you're bright and you know what you're doing, oh, I want to do hairdressing.
Yeah.
So it took a very long time for me to accept that this was
your path. Yeah.
I had to, eliminate a lot of fear, a lot of what my parents thought, because they were like, hairdressing is a weekend side hustle.
It's not a me.
Yeah. They were just very worried about my future.
Yeah.
And if I'll be able to live.
Survive.
Yeah. With hairdressing. But then look at it now.
Yeah.
The second I said, you know what, I'm just doing it now.
Yeah. And do you know what? The beauty of it is when you have a spirit of excellence, when you just do things well, it doesn't matter what you do. Exactly. So even though you could have done so many other things and you would have been successful at them, you decided like, this is the path I want to take.
Exactly.
And if I put everything into it, like as long as I provide a certain quality, like I'm going to get to where I need to get to.
Exactly.
And you can see that in everything you do. You can see that in your studio, in your blends, in your branding.
Exactly.
Everything is so like pristine, you know?
I took myself out of that, you know, trying to put myself in a box of what I'm supposed to do. And I just literally just went for it. So I was like, I should have done this ages ago.
Yeah, but you've done it now. Yeah.
Should have done it ages ago, but here we are.
Here we are.
Divine timing.
Divine timing, honestly. And, you know, talking about divine timing and like things that have happened in your career, are there any like high moments, like things you're like, oh my God, like how did I achieve this? Like, you know?
I would say it would be the studio because it's just something I just wouldn't do.
Yeah.
It's a huge step for me to, because I put in a lot of money into it. And I'm one for not taking risks.
Yeah.
That's a risk because it could have failed. I could have lost quite a lot. But since then, by God's grace, I've never had any issue concerning this
studio.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why didn't I think?
Why didn't I do that?
Just do this?
Yeah, but also I think you know, even though you think you should have done it sooner, like it probably was the perfect time because you built up your clientele, you built up your credibility, your brand is really strong. So it's like, the next step is naturally like a studio, right?
Building clientele wasn't even that difficult. And that's what I think. When you know what you're supposed to be doing, these things kind of come easy to you a little bit. Yeah. So when I came back, cause I was living in Nigeria for a couple of years, and I moved back, and I was, because you asked, one of my breaking points was just putting myself out there, reminding people in the UK that, oh, okay, I'm back doing hair again, and then building that back up again. And it really took off. And then with social media took it
to the next level. And that, let's talk about that low point a bit more. So you went to Nigeria, you obviously came back, and you were like, okay, were you expecting to be like, let's go pick it up again? Or
well, I don't know, because I got back at like the COVID period. This is 2020,
so that's like
and I literally came on a repatriation flight, so I had none of my stuff. I came with like zero, so I started from ground zero. I was back in my parents' house, thinking, okay, what am I going to do to make money? And I'm very much like, I need to do things, like I need to work. And before I even moved back, I was always like, I kept feeling that, okay, I need to advance in my hairdressing skills, because back there wasn't much places you can go and train and develop in that area. So I always kept saying, oh, I really want to, develop. Then it happened that I had to come back to London. And then funny enough, I think 3 months into being back, one of my friends sent me a link. One of the hair studios was looking for a stylist.
Okay.
I don't know if you know Elite.
Yeah, Elite Hair Lounge.
So that's where I started. So I went there. Yeah. And Talisha took me on, and credit to her, because she was amazing. I've had experiences working in salons in the UK, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
But she allowed a lot of the staff to be, free and creative,
and for you to grow.
Because when a lot of stylists are like, don't do this, I don't want you to touch this client, or I'll do this. But she was
You're not allowed to do that.
She was like, just go for it.
Wow.
So with that, I really picked up a lot of things, especially when it came to hair care, hair texture, what to use. I mean, I knew these things, but when you're in the studio,
there's nothing like practical.
Yeah, exactly. When you're in there and you've got the client in front of you, you'll pick it up really quickly.
Yeah.
So I did that. I started working at Elite, and then I kind of used that space to build my Instagram up. Like I would use the white walls and all that stuff to take pictures of my work as well. So that's what I was saying. She allowed for
you to do that. And I think that's really important. And honestly, I think, sorry, not to go off topic, but that's actually one of the reasons why Elite is actually done so well.
Yes,
because you need to, it's very difficult to build a brand, especially in the Afro hair space where most stylists like to be self-employed. They don't want to work in a salon.
Exactly.
So you have to allow that freedom of like expression. This is your work, you're part of this community, and that's what's going to make you flourish.
Exactly.
Amazing. So you kind of pushed through out of that. And let's talk about, because obviously you were saying that you kind of used your time at Elite to kind of, I guess, grow and like venture out into your own.
Of course, yeah.
What kind of like marketing strategies do you feel like you currently use, but also maybe at that time you used to kind of help you build your brand to what it is now?
Social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
Instagram, that was really what I could use at the time. So it just takes you posting, and it wasn't really bringing much to my engagement, but it gave people a catalogue of what they can see. So when I decided to take it further, I started reaching out to influencers. I started reaching out to people that matched my aesthetic, that had a good following, that
I
had
think that's
a lot of
super
engagement.
important.
Yeah, because if everyone is looking at them and they're talking about you, those are those eyes that are going to come back to your page. So I did that with someone. I don't know if I can use names.
Yeah.
So my lovely little sis, Yvonne.
Yes. Victoria.
Yes.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, she's such a sweet,
so sweet.
So, you know, I reached out to her and I said, oh, you know, 'cause I loved her page, gorgeous girl.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these girls weren't really doing braiding.
Yeah.
So I would literally be like looking out for girls that didn't really do braiding.
Yeah.
But wanted to give them that
opportunity to try it. Yeah.
And then let other people see that braiding is something other than wigs that we can do. Because not many people were doing braiding at that time. So I reached out to her and she was like, yeah, sure. And then, you know, it just takes one post.
It takes one post, especially one post. Victoria's got a cult following.
Yeah.
Like people really listen to what she says. So as you said, once you get that exposure, then it opens up the doors.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I was going from word of mouth and people just call me, oh, I heard that this, do you have any spaces? I heard you did this personally. It became a larger scale thing when I tapped into social media.
Yeah. But I really like what you said about picking people that match your aesthetic. Because I feel like you have a specific brand.
Yeah.
And every stylist has a brand. Like, I don't know, even if they don't know it or not, like there's a certain type of hairstyle you tend to do. There's a certain way that you post. Like, you kind of need to look for people that match that.
Yeah.
And I feel like if one matches that, like some of the other like people you've worked with, they kind of match it. It's like that minimal, very clean.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what I like.
And it works, right? So I think even thinking about stylists that are looking to grow, like you really need to find people that match. That fit in. It can't be a clash of the, you know, it needs to make sense.
Got to keep it neat. I like things that are neat, clean, and, you know,
make it make sense.
Soft. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, lovely. So let's talk about more. So we've talked about obviously marketing strategies, how they've grown. If we talk about like cultural tensions, for example, in the Afro hair space, Black hair space, what do you think in 2024 are some of the cultural tensions that this industry faces?
I would say because now everybody has some kind of trade, or, you know, you've got your cosmetologists, you've got your hairstylists, we've got a lot of them coming out, and we lack a lot of professionalism.
Yeah.
We lack training, we lack knowledge.
Yeah.
People just think, oh, it's I just do hair.
Yeah. You wake up one day and then it's like,
not that.
Yeah.
Because I know the difference, because I got qualified before I left the country. I got qualified. I have an MVQ in hairdressing. So the kind of things that would teach us, sometimes it's not just the technique. It's how you greet your client. It's how you gown your client, your PPE, you know, health and safety.
Yeah.
A lot of those things need to be taken into consideration. And I feel like a lot of the girls are out here and then they're just giving out a service without those fundamentals. Yeah. So I feel like we need a lot more of that. We need, you know, institutions where people can go and get trained properly.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to black hair. Because our hair type is very different. And even in hair school, it's not something you would find they will not go in depth with about. I think I remember when I was doing hair school, the only thing they taught us about black hair was just braiding.
Wow.
And it was a choice if you wanted to pick that one. It was an extra credibility.
And you probably had to even pay extra, I don't know.
No, you
didn't have to pay extra, but you just choose.
It's a proper, because I was in a college, it was a proper, but it was like an extra credit.
Yeah, it wasn't like...
No, it wasn't compulsory.
Yeah.
We need compulsory black hair education.
Training,
education. We need that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to just continue
in this self-taught. And
exactly.
The thing is, I think that's the thing. I credit a lot of stylists like just coming up, because we're so innovative in terms of like just having to learn things on your own.
Yeah.
Like there is, as you said, there is the National Occupational Standards. They only just allowed or included the cutting and styling of textured hair and even braiding, as you said. But it goes beyond that. There's no wigs, there's no weaves, there's no like additional styles, there's no locks, there's no like Afro hairstyling is whole thing,
like,
right?
From hair type.
So
know the hair type you're working with.
And how to treat it. Yeah.
The kind of products you're using it. Yeah, there's certain products I can't put in my hair, or I can put in my sister's hair.
Yeah.
I've got fine hair, she's got thick hair. There's certain things that I can't do to my hair, but I can do to her.
To her.
So those are the things that we kind of need to know,
Yeah.
so that we don't fall into situations where people are like, oh, well, you know, it is what it is. I'll take the risk and get my hair done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like you're literally risking it all. I was talking to another stylist and I was saying, like, you know, for a long time I didn't go to hairstylists. So luckily I could do my own hair.
Yeah.
But it's that fear of like, you know, yeah, you know that like you're just not sure.
Yeah.
You're just not sure what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of Russian
yeah.
roulette kind of thing, and we need to eliminate that.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, I don't even want to go into how we do that because that's a whole nother conversation.
Huge conversation.
It's a huge conversation.
We won't finish.
Yeah. But I think there are things that like need to move the needle. I think obviously like just generally there are a lot of stylists like putting out bigger stylists putting out academies, and there is a lot more like informal training, which is good,
which is coming out. Yeah.
which is coming out. But again, I think from a national level, from a British hairdressing level, things need to be elevated. Basically, yeah, I agree.
I think we all agree.
Yeah. Okay, so let's wrap this up. What would you say is one piece of advice you would give to a self-employed hairstylist coming up?
One piece of advice I would say is it's good to have a niche, but try and add more things to your palette.
Okay.
I could be good at braiding, but it's also good to know other skills, know other hairdressing styles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just so that you're more well versed, especially if you want to grow in the industry. You want people to come to you and be like, okay, I don't want to do braiding, but do you have any other
styles
that can work for me? Because I can have a client and she has really damaged edges, and braiding is not a service that I would provide, but then I would recommend something else that I can do. So I think it's really important that we, you know, put ourselves out there to add to our
like arsenal.
Yes,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'll say that. And then also I would say I'm not gonna say forget about the money, but you want to put your heart and soul into something. I feel like when you are passionate about something, the money will come. A lot of girls are just like getting the money, they want to get the bag. But I feel like we need to take a step back from that and put in to, you know, letting our clients feel comfortable in our chair, giving them the correct service and providing them with the right service first. And then all of that other
everything will follow.
Back,
yeah. I love it. That's very good advice.
And then go for it.
Amazing. Thank you so much for
so welcome.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely.